Guys, welcome to another Panther chat. Today we are going to talk about our theater program, and with us today is Professor Nate Gross, who is certainly an expert of everything theater, and I'll let him tell more about himself. But welcome, Nate. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kate. I'm very happy to be here. Excited about it.
Awesome. Well, to get started, I know a little bit of your story, but if you wouldn't mind just to kind of tell us just your background, what led you into theater in general, and then what led you to want to teach theater?
Sure. So for me, it's been my whole life. It was really my elementary school teachers. Uh, they put me in plays. They put me in large roles from second grade, first grade. Should know this. I think it was second grade on. And I've just always loved it. I've done it my whole life. That certainly doesn't have to be everybody's story. People enter theater late in life, or that's one of the beauties of it, is that you can do it at any point. But for me, it's been my whole life, so I just kept doing theater. I love it. I love directing. I love acting. Acting was probably my first love, and probably still is. But I really enjoy pretty much all aspects of theater, but especially acting, directing, and teaching. And to me, teaching overlaps with the other two things. So, I love to act, to teach, direct, and I feel incredibly fortunate that I get to do, my dream job. So I would do it for free, but they pay me a little.
Yeah, but we won't tell them that, right?
No.
That's very cool. Well, I'm going to kind of ask you to go a little deeper because I do know parts of your story already.
Okay.
That are, cool. So I want people to know about them. But because I know that you have some experience
Sure.
with acting post-college,
Yeah.
Okay. But before you taught. So what are some of those experiences?
Well, I mean, I've really been teaching to some degree, even when I was in high school, but yeah, I did have, I don't even want to say did, because I still have a professional career. It all overlaps. But, when I was done with high school, I hopped on my motorcycle, and drove out to California and stayed there for a long time. I went to college out there. I did work, but I did it while I was going to college. So I was on The Bold and the Beautiful. IMDb has me listed for like one episode. It was actually a lot more than that. So IMDb is not totally accurate all the time, but I did that a bunch, which is probably what people have heard of the most. I did some independent films, and I did a lot of theater, a lot of Shakespeare especially. I've been very lucky to play a lot of the roles that were on my bucket list are now checked off. I've got to play Macbeth twice, once in town here in Owensboro. Done some professional theater, Arizona Theater Company, the Springer Opera House in Georgia. I did not long before moving to Owensboro, like three and a half years ago is when I did the play. And actually, it's part of what I'd love to talk about is some of the opportunities for students. There's a lot of filmmakers right here in Owensboro. I'm actually shooting a horror movie this weekend coming up. I don't
Really?
die. I know it's going to be fun. I don't die, but I get blood splattered on my face, and I have a pretty good role. So I'm looking forward to that, and I get my students to audition. So I got to give a shout out to PJ Starks and Eric Huskinson, who are the filmmaking team that are producing the movie I'm shooting this weekend. It's 13 Slaves, A Christmas to Dismember. Yeah, isn't that a great title?
Love that.
And he's done Volumes of Blood 1 and 2, and he's done some stuff. Those guys have. So he's a really good filmmaker. He's local. Shane Devon is another guy I'd love to give a shout out to, and he has Tinkertone Pictures, and he's postponed because of the pandemic. We're actually, being very cautious with the horror movie this weekend. A lot of, there's going to be very few people there for the shoot. But Shane Devon's got a sci-fi movie that he postponed because of the pandemic, and other projects too. So there's local film projects, even though theater is my main thing, there's crossover there too. And there's opportunities for students with that.
That's very cool. And to be honest, I didn't even know about that aspect. That is really cool.
Well, I've been here 3 years, and so each year we're building more. And this past year, I thought I really wanted to, I kind of saw the opportunity that there was local filmmakers, and I know I have students that are interested. So, and I'm interested, I want to do that stuff. So, yeah, it's growing. We got a lot of opportunities actually.
Yeah.
Student productions, alumni productions. I make sure that there's 2 main stage shows per year, a musical in the spring and a main stage regular play or straight play in the fall, non-musical play. This past fall we did King Lear, but we've done the Heidi Chronicles, we've done other, lots of different types of plays in the fall. And then there's student productions, alumni productions. There's always something for the students to get involved in. So.
That's great. Yeah. You told me so much more than I even knew. So I'm glad that I had you talk more about that. That's great.
Kate, we could talk all day. I know people won't pay attention.
I'm sure, yes.
But I love talking about this program, and so there's always more to say.
Very cool. Well, we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. So thinking about specifically the curriculum, which obviously a lot of the curriculum for theater is going to be very hands-on, you're doing theater, but what types of classes and experiences within the classroom can students expect?
Yeah, I think everything's hands-on with theater. I can give you some class titles, and with the pandemic, we have an opportunity, is the way I like to look at it. Everybody's faced with the same challenge. Every college out there, every acting class, every theater class, every class.
Right.
is faced with that challenge. So there's drawbacks to it, and that there's opportunities to be creative and to learn something else. So acting is probably what I like to teach the most. I usually use the Meisner technique or variations of that, which is very much based in listening and responding and being truthful in the moment. You memorize your lines, but the behavior and the reactions are improvised. That's a nutshell.
Okay.
That's harder to do. With the pandemic, it presents a challenge. But we're going to do some of that, and we're going to focus a little more this time on self-taped auditions, because that's really how the industry is moving. You can, and it's a good thing. It's especially if you're living further away from, it used to be LA or New York for wanting to work as an actor. But anymore, you can be anywhere. You tape yourself for the audition and you send it in. And even if you live in LA or New York, you're still going to tape yourself at home and send it in a lot of the time. So we're going to work on how to do that and how to do it right and do it well. Other classes, there's Intro to Theater, which is where everybody can try theater. So I'm assuming that there might be a few people out there watching that may not want to major in theater, may just have an interest or wonder what it's all about. So Intro to Theater is good for that. It does kind of what is theater the whole semester. And it's so many things that we cover a lot of it. Let's see what else. There's, I teach directing, there's theater history. So we study plays throughout history. And we read some classics there and talk about them and discuss those eras. There's a improvisational acting class that I will likely have in the spring. And so it tends towards comedy improv, but it's never our goal to be funny, although it just kind of happens pretty much all the time. So we have a good time with that. Play script analysis, children's theater, musical theater history, which is one of the classes that I really never teach because Professor Dennis Jewett, who I know you know, who is everybody's favorite, he's wonderful. He teaches musical theater history. And so he actually usually teaches that every semester, and students love to sign up for that. So that's some classes.
Great. Great answer. Yes. All right. Well, we've kind of talked about the hands-on learning opportunities. You already said pretty much all of theater is very hands-on. But as far as hands-on opportunities that would be considered outside of maybe the normal curriculum or even outside of campus, what are some of those types of opportunities? You've mentioned some of them already.
Yeah. No, but thanks for getting me back on track. Okay, so we got they can audition for local theater groups, and we even have some internship opportunities there, like River Park Center, Theater Workshop Owensboro, possible some other groups that I'm working on, and then the filmmakers too. So those are outside opportunities that are totally outside of the school. I've mentioned the productions that if you're a theater major, you get class credit. So that's sort of borderline, whether it's in-class opportunity or out-of-class opportunity,
Right.
but you don't have to be in the class to be in the play. So basically, there's a production, a play, that some of the actors and technicians, tech people, are getting class credit, and some are not. And it's student flexibility there. So that's just, there are options. And then Alpha Psi Omega I wanted to mention, which is the Theater Honor Society. It sort of functions like a club, but it's also an honor society, and it's a national organization. But we have a chapter that we've reinvigorated and are having fun with that. So
Great.
There you go.
Very cool. All right, so internships is something that we kind of dive into with various programs. Are there specific internship opportunities for theater that some of your students have done in the past?
Yeah, the River Park Center and Theater Workshop Owensboro are the two theaters in town. River Park Center is they sometimes produce their own stuff. They also have a lot of touring shows come through. And that's also where we tend to do our musicals in the spring. And so we've had students there. And then Theater Workshop Owensboro is a community theater. They have two venues, and we've had students there in the past. Also, and this kind of goes into like future career opportunities, but the Southeastern Theater Conference, SETC, has a convention every spring, and they have professional auditions, they have college auditions for summer stock, for summer theater opportunities. And then there's even more opportunities, or perhaps you could say less competition for but the competition is still, still strong competition for tech jobs. So there's a job fair. So that's sort of like an internship. I mean, there's different deals with different companies. A lot of them are paid positions, but that's something that we went to last year, and we're going to go again.
Okay, awesome. So as far as career opportunities, now I know that this can be so varied, and I feel like theater is one of those where you have these skills that you're building up that could almost go into anything. But yes, what are maybe some career pathways that you've seen from students, or ones that you know are available?
Sure. So yeah, it's a big one for theater. It really can be anything. I kind of like divided it into two halves. I mean, there's jobs within theater, right? There's acting, which has the biggest draw in general. So there tends to be the most competition there, but you can absolutely do it. You have to love it, and you have to believe in yourself, because there's a lot of discouragement along the way, and that's just true. But so there's lots of jobs in theater, whether it's in theater itself or perhaps acting with film and television. There's that whole industry. There's many tech jobs. There's directing, which you can go to grad school for that. It's usually not an entry-level position, but it is if you get your friends together, and you have to start somewhere, but it takes a lot of ambition. So there's that whole theater half. And then there's a lot of people who choose to get a theater degree, but then never work in theater professionally. And that's true of a lot of other degrees as well, like history or English or art history. You can literally do anything with it. And the skills that you get, like working together, working well together, leading or following a leader, meeting deadlines, communicating, speaking well with people, those are all skills that are really developed in theater, and that every employer wants you to have those skills. So, and I know people who have a theater bachelor's degree and who are lawyers, who are doctors. I know one who has a theater bachelor's degree and went to medical school. So you can really do anything. I think a lot of people don't realize that how many opportunities are with just a bachelor's degree. You know, there are so many opportunities, so many different ways to go. So, and I think theater, especially, I was actually looking into medical school earlier today, not for me to go, but just, you know, how it would work. I had that one person I knew of that did it. And a lot of medical schools, what they want, not only they want a high GPA, and they want, I think it's the GMAT that you take, the test for medical school, something like that. Anyway, they want that, but they also want a really well-rounded person and something interesting. So, so yes, it can be anything, but it's going to take hard work and ambition.
Right, right. Yeah, that's one thing that I share with my students about my background with majoring in music. Mm-hmm. You know, just having a stage presence, learning how to do that, and, you know, just project your voice. It just basic things like that are skills that I definitely use in my job now. And they are ones that have just really helped me throughout all the jobs that I've had since college, even though none of them have really been specifically music based, but my music degree definitely helped me in that way. And I think it's the same with theater.
I think so too. And there's a lot of crossover between music and theater, right? I mean, I have tons of music students that are in our musicals, and some of them are in our non-musical plays. So there are, yes, I agree with you completely, Kate.
All right. Glad we're in agreement. There we go. All right. Well, this is the fun question, I suppose. Not that the others weren't, but what would you say is your favorite thing about the theater program at Wesleyan?
So, you know,
and I don't know if you can choose just one. I'll let you cheat.
Can I go on? You know, I do have a tendency to go on and on. It's got to be my students, and I wouldn't, like, I don't think I'm a naturally nurturing or, you know, that type of person. So it's kind of surprised me how much I love my students. I mean, really. Yeah. I have a really cool group. I hope they're always this cool. It's a really great group of students. We have wonderful discussions in class. I see them a lot, you know, I know them pretty well. So, and they're really talented. And not only are they good people and fun to hang out with, but they're intelligent. But they're very talented. I've got a lot of good musicians, so, you know, it's fun to think about what musicals we're going to do, because there's a lot of possibilities, and straight plays as well. So I'd say students are number one. But as far as, you know, the uniqueness of the program and what's good about the program, it's small still, although it's growing. It's grown a lot in the last 3 years. But it's still small. So there's so many opportunities, and there's opportunity for personal attention, and there's opportunity to do your own projects. If you come with an idea and some ambition, you're going to be supported, and you're going to have an opportunity to do it. So I think that's another thing that I like about it. Yeah,
absolutely. That's huge. The more opportunities you have, obviously, the better. And like you said, getting to know your students well, because you guys are this close-knit group. That's very cool.
Makes it fun to go to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. 100%. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with us today?
Okay. So theater is the best, because, I mean, you know, let's sort of tell it like it is, because it's got every art in it. A fun question I like to do, I usually do this with my intro to theater class, is I challenge them to name an art that is, first I say name the arts that are involved in theater, and I get them to name a bunch, and then I flip it and say, well, what art is not in theater? And I've been asking that question for years, before I came to Wesleyan, and they can't come up with one, because theater uses every single art. There's not a single art you can think of so far that is not in theater. So I'm definitely biased, but that's why it's the best. And I think, it's, as we talked about earlier with the major, if it's something that you decide to major in doing, or even just to participate in, it's not something that, I've never met anybody that said, I did some theater and boy, I really regret it. You'll
Right.
never regret it, because it changes you in a good way. So there.
Very good answer. Yes, that is very true. I have never heard anyone say they regretted being in a theater performance or anything.
See, it's fact.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, you better cut me off, Kate.
I know.
I'll go on.
We could probably both go on.
Yeah, we could.
Right.
Well, we could keep talking after we end this. But I want to encourage students to reach out to me if they want. I'd love to hear about them if they have an interest, to see what they've done and what they want to do. I want to hear about it.
Okay, great. And if anyone listening does want to reach out to him, you can find his contact information on our website. If you go to academics and search the theater program, you will find him there. All right. Well, Professor Gross, thank you so much for joining us today. And guys, thank you for joining us as well for another Panther Chat. And keep on the lookout every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the summer. We'll keep doing these, and you can find out about other academic programs and offices around campus. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Kate. Kate, you're great.
Thank you.
Love Nate.